Welcome to The Preferred List, a podcast about the people behind the best wedding days. I'm James, a wedding filmmaker. I've spent years in the industry working alongside incredible vendors, and this show is all about real conversations with the ones who make it happen. Whether you're a vendor or a couple, you'll get honest insight, good stories, and maybe a little inspiration along the way. Let's meet today's wedding vendor. Melissa, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad to have you on. Melissa runs Drinks by Design bartending service here in State College, Pennsylvania, and I'm super excited to dive into all things drinks, bartending, what couples can do to help, and just have the best party.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, that's what we call it, a party.
Yeah, a party. I love it. Before we jump into all things bartending, though, we're here at Harmony Forge Inn. Harmony Forge is nestled into the rolling hills of Bellefonte, just 15 minutes away from Penn State. It features a historic house built in 1795, a newly remodeled creekside lodge, and a rustic barn with some modern touches. And if you haven't met Billy and Casey, you need to do it because they're just good people.
Absolutely.
Like when you know that people are good people, they're just good people. You can tell that right away. And to be honest, I've spent 2 days here and I feel like I have a new set of best friends with the two of them. All that to say, we're here at Harmony Forge, but we're here with Melissa, Drinks by Design.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Good, good.
You know, I had a bartender on, and I have no idea when this is going to go out compared to that one. But I was kind of like, I was a little like, I don't know how this is going to go. But I feel like I learned so much from that first one. And I'm so excited to see how things are different for your business and the way that you do things. Because after all these episodes, I could ask the same question to the same vendor type 10 different times, 10 different people, and they all have a sort of different take on things. It's so fun. But at one point, I say this a lot, at one point you were not a bartender, right? You didn't have Drinks by Design.
No, I did not.
And at one point you started a thing. So take me back to the beginning and just fill us in, fill the listener in on how this all started for you.
I wish I could say it was a lot easier to remember because it's been 10 years now since we just celebrated 10 years in June.
That's awesome.
So basically, for a very long time, I've always held two jobs. I've had a full-time job and gone to school, or a full-time job and worked a part-time job. So I've always been somewhat in the industry of people. So I kind of always have had that face-to-face interaction. And 10 years ago, I was working at Kildare's in State College,
Okay.
which a lot of people don't even remember because it's been closed for so long now. And one of my friends was like, she texted me. She was my old roommate in college. She texted me and she said, "Hey, I'm getting married. I know that you're in the industry in terms of having ramp certification. Do you want to bartend my wedding?" And I was like, I mean, sure, why not? Like, do I need to do anything? And she was like, "Nope, you just need your ramp certification," which I already had. So I was like, sure, let's do it. So I did it basically as a gift for them for their wedding. And kind of loved it. And then actually, my second wedding I ever bartended was here at Harmony Forge.
No way.
So later in August, there was another friend of mine that had her mother I had actually student taught with when I was in college, going to school to be a teacher, which that did not happen. Not a teacher.
I went to school to be a teacher as well, and I'm also not a teacher.
So her mom had put a post out that was like, "Hey, we're looking for somebody." And I want to say probably 10 years ago, it was more focused on being ramp certified than it is what it is now, which is licensed, which is coverage, which is like all the liability. So I did my second wedding and it was here at Harmony. And I was like, okay, this is kind of fun, you know? So from there, I kind of got on some wedding pages, posted some things. I actually had somebody reach out to me that was like, "Hey, just so you know, what you're doing is awesome, but you might want to make sure you have some liability insurance because there's a lot of things that could go wrong." And so they were like, hey, there's a lot of liability to this. You might, we could take you on as basically like a third party. Like you could just pay us, we'll put you under our insurance. And I was like, okay, sounds good. Well, I did a couple of that way. And basically, she had messaged me and said, hey, we're kind of ceasing our business. You might just want to kind of figure this out though, because you don't really want to do this without it.
Yeah.
So for a little while, I was doing by wedding purchasing of liability insurance, which if you've been in the industry and it's really not the way to go. It's just like any other insurance, it's better just to have the policy and be done with it.
Yeah.
Less work to deal with. And then we had actually done a wedding. I can't even tell you, 2017, 2018, where the mother of the bride was like, we just love you and I work for Penn State and I would love for you to be like on the preferred list for Penn State. And I was like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, basically there's like this list that everybody is allowed to pick from, but you have to be on that list to be able to do stuff for Penn State. So with that, it was actually physically getting a policy and doing the research. I'll tell you, my insurance company is amazing. They go to bat for me every time. They are always there to answer questions, things like that. Dietz and Blewett out of Harrisburg, love them dearly. So they've been wonderful through the whole process. But yeah, basically that's kind of where it went. Got on the preferred vendor list with Penn State. And not so many words, it kind of blew up from there. Like we got a couple Penn State department events. And right after I had posted on social media about us being approved for the Penn State, I got a message from one of my coworkers at the Stater at the time that I worked at Penn Stater. And she was like, hey, so Brad is kind of looking for a bartender for tailgate for the BJC. And I was like, oh, well, shoot him my way. So we ended up doing the corporate sponsor tailgate for Penn State.
Oh, nice.
And after a couple, he was like, hey, like, we're going to third party contract you. So basically, what that means is if we can't take it on and handle it ourselves, we'll reach out to you to like contract it, which spiraled into the Justin Timberlake concert and getting to bartend that, Metallica, Jonas Brothers, things like that. Then after COVID, I think it was after COVID, they reached out and was like, hey, would you have enough staffing for you to do the suites at the stadium?
Oh,
Because we
nice.
got that. And I was like, what does that
Yeah.
mean? And he was like, well, it's 5 every home game. We still need you at the corporate sponsor tailgate. So that's 2. And I was like, it's like July. And I already know like how many weddings we have coming up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to try it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Right. And so I basically reached out to all my bartenders and I was like, here's our opportunity. Do you think that you can say absolutely yes to 7 games a season? And everybody was on board. So we took it. We did that for a couple years. We've since not been doing that just because they switched hospitality groups. But in that, we've grown a lot. We learned. There was some good and bad to everything.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we've grown gotten a lot of relationships from that. We now have a great relationship with Mountain Nittany Health Foundation, so we're doing a lot of their stuff. So we've built a lot of friendships and partnerships along the way, which is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a testament to your character and your personality and all those things that you're bringing to the table, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes a long way for a business as a business owner. Like, if you have the connections, like, your business is bound to be on the upward. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to be growing. And if you show up and do a great job, those people are going to recommend you more and more. And that carries over in the wedding side of things
Correct.
completely. It's the
Correct.
same business mindset that you could have vendor to vendor, venue to vendor.
Mhm.
If you're showing up and doing a great job at every wedding that you're at, you're bound to get recommendations, kind of similar to the corporate side of things that
Correct,
you've
correct.
experienced.
And that's what I say to every single person that works with me. I say, if there's a problem, come to me with it and I will go direct. I don't want you having a hard time, whether it's a vendor or a venue. I would much rather myself and them have a conversation as to what the difficulties were. Um, and I'll tell you, like, the biggest thing is walking into a venue. The first day that I met Casey was back in May. We had done a wedding here already, and it wasn't me on site at the time. But I walked in May to Casey, and basically she was like, open arms, wonderful. Her and Billy are all hands on deck to do everything. She's like, what can we do? How can we help? And the next step was at the end of the night, she was like, what can we do differently?
Yeah.
Where did we fall? And I looked at her and I said, you're here. You didn't fall. That's the point. Like,
But that's the mindset that they have.
well, and to be a new owner to it, that's basically that's a good step. And there are a lot of venue owners that are like that. They step up and they say, what can we do differently? What did we do wrong? Where did we fall? And building that relationship, and honestly, beyond relationship, friendship is so important in this industry. You shouldn't just be showing up to make money. You shouldn't be just showing up to get a paycheck. You need to build those things, because beyond that, that's what's going to continue to grow our business. And that's what I tell every single person that works with me. Like, I get that some days are bad and they're not always great and tips aren't always the best, but show up, put a smile on your face,
Yeah.
put everything behind you, and remember that the one thing about weddings versus any other situation you may have bartended in is 99.9% of the people are here in a great mood. They're not here in a bad mood.
Yeah.
They're not here, you might work at a bar and somebody's come in and they're fighting with their spouse or had a bad day at work or something. That's not typically happening at a wedding. So what is going to change that mindset or how the outcome of the night typically goes is how you present yourself and the things that you do. And
That's
that's the one big thing.
it's such an interesting take too, because it's something that I don't think I've put much thought into on
Mhm.
that side of things. Is like you kind of have a little leg up
Mhm.
because generally people are just excited to be there.
Correct.
So what I'm hearing from you is like feed off of that,
Mhm.
continue that kind of vibe
Yep.
with the service and the attitude that your bartenders have.
Correct. Correct. And I really preach to them like, hey, get through that first initial rush of people, then start making the conversations. If
Yeah.
somebody, that's my big thing.
Yeah, you
Like,
don't need to be having that like big long yeah.
correct. Like, there's a line of 50 people staring at you and you're
Like,
having a
so how
conversation.
did you get here? Did you drive or like no, not right now.
Exactly. Exactly. Or somebody like, hey, tap out on it for about 5 minutes. Let's
Yeah.
get through this rush. And then, sure, go have them come back up and talk to you.
Mhm.
So that's a big thing. A lot of people are super excited that when you like remember their order, which is so funny because
It is fun.
so like you have it ready when they're coming up and they're like, how did you know? I'm like, well, you've been drinking it all night. Am I crazy? Aren't I
It
supposed to
seems
remember
it
these
it
things?
seems like a simple thing, but I think as a guest experience, like
Mhm.
it goes a long way. Like it's almost like remembering their name. I know they're
Mhm.
not giving you their name,
Mhm.
but in that scenario, it's like, oh, they're paying attention. Like
Mhm.
there's that little nod of like, hey, I see you. I got you.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's funny too because we all obviously wear our name tags. And my one bartender this past weekend, somebody was like, "Melanie, you're doing wonderful," and she's like, "How do you know my name?" Oh,
Oh.
I'm wearing a name tag.
She's
Okay.
like, what? No, she didn't say that. She
No, no, but she's just like, Should I be creeped out? Am I supposed to know you?"
Yeah,
And then she's like, "Oh, yeah,
yeah.
name tag."
No, that's so fun. Speaking of kinda like the setup, I'm curious, like, do you have kind of a typical setup at most weddings?
So, not a typical, I wouldn't say typical setup. I would say there's a common ground. So, look at my house on a Tuesday. It's not great because I prep everybody. So, everybody gets, I, so start to finish, a client books. We go through the process of a contract, an invoice, a down payment. That down payment, then with that, basically ensures that we are going to be on site, right? And then from there, they get a meeting 3 to 4 months out with me, and then constant communication from there. We go over what they're thinking they want to serve, how many guests, how long, all that stuff is kind of confirmed. Then, as we're leading up, we really confirm details, nail everything down. A bar sign gets made for them. So, we typically do all of that for them. Then, I take that and I send basically that recap to all of my staff who are going to be on site for a wedding.
Gotcha.
So they know arrival time, ceremony time, ending time, any stipulations that are happening in the contract, whether there's a dollar dance, whether there's a champagne toast, and then basically how things that we're looking to set up. So then from there, I get them all prepped and I have all of the stuff ready for them. Whether that means they need certain galvanized bins for soda, water, dispensers for drinks, decor, the bar sign, cocktail napkins, all the tools that they need. So basically, my bartender, and then everything gets delivered to them, or they meet me, or whatever. They get all that. They head into the venue. They set up, or if it's me on site, obviously I set up. So our common thing is we always arrive an hour and a half before the ceremony start, and that is to
Gotcha.
ensure a lot of like different stipulations. Say for example, it ends up raining on your wedding day. While we all know that that's good luck, you don't want it raining during your ceremony. So, if something has to shift and you are now getting married right near the bar, the last thing that we want to do is be banging
Clinking and
things
clanking,
around
yeah.
to while you're trying to get married. So we arrive that just to cover a lot of basis, um, and then we go until you're ready to end for the night. So
Yeah, so, man, I'm thinking of a couple things. Is there that kind of one package idea where you're showing up that hour and a half before ceremony and you're staying till the end of the party, and that's kinda like what they're paying for that
yeah,
time?
yep, that's we basically have that. So currently, right now, just because of my space availability, we don't really provide a whole lot excess beyond like with mixers and things like that. I know that there is companies out there that do. I just don't want my staff having to haul all of that in or making a Sam's Club trip or things like that. So basically that's kind of where we stand. There's a couple things like a couple events a year that we do that I provide a few things to it. Or if it's a specialty thing, like we can get ginger beer, or we can get syrups and things like that if they're doing some type of specialty cocktail, just to help them out. But otherwise, the thought is they all have availability into their venue more than the morning of.
Gotcha.
So for us to unload all that stuff, that's a lot. And that's kind of why I've stuck to some of that, just because I help all my clients figure out how much they need of things. So it's not like I'm kind of putting them in the dark. So I do try to help as much as I can since we aren't providing that service of providing everything. I also feel as if it's important that you should be able to utilize what you bought, right? It
Yeah.
shouldn't be coming back to me or, oh, I'm not saying overcharging, but charging for people's time. Like if
Yeah.
I'm running to Sam's Club, I feel that there is a need to charge for, a little extra in terms of the time. So I don't like to do that. I'd
Yeah.
like to make it as reasonable as possible.
So just to clarify, if someone's listening, you're bringing the utensils and the things, tools of the trade to make
Mhm.
sure that you have everything you need to make sure that you can make the drinks and serve and
Correct.
do it efficiently.
Correct.
the couple or someone related to the couple is in charge of getting all of the liquid things,
Mhm.
mixers, the sodas, the
Garnishes,
wines.
ice, things like that. Now there is a venue, like we work at some venues that have ice machines on site or ice chests, so that helps. That eliminates that process for them. But overall, like for example, we work with Jenna Beer Distributor a lot out of Phillipsburg. They will deliver to a lot of venues in the area, which is
Oh, nice.
wonderful. So they'll deliver ice and beer to a lot
And
of the
is that
venues.
something that like you're kind of bridging the gap for couples to place an order with them, or are you placing the order with them?
So they're placing the order, but I'm going over the quantities with them. And
Okay.
basically, when they reach out to them and they say, hey, we're working with Drinks by Design, I think they like make the schedule work a
Yeah.
little bit more just because we've built such a relationship with
Yeah.
them.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
I'd imagine there's some couples that are sitting here listening to our bartender
Mm-hmm.
talk here and like, gosh, there's just so many different types of people that are going to be there. They probably all drink different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What's your best advice for couples when they're trying to figure out like what kind of beer do we get? What kind of wine do we get? Do we have like all of the hard liquor as an option, or is there like how do we decide on what to have and even just like how much of each thing?
So basically, what I really tell a lot of my couples are is focus on the number one most important thing is what are the two of you going to consume if you keep stuff after the fact? Your immediate family, the people you're going to be around. That's number one. Number two is say your one friend is a gin and tonic drinker. Are you going to buy 3 handles of gin because of that one friend when you probably know the consumption level of like a gin and tonic in your friend group, family group? The other big thing is like liquor stores in PA do take returns within 14 days of anything unopened. So that's a
Mm,
great um, resource for all of my couples. So any
yeah.
wine unopened, any liquor unopened, I always tell them wait to the week of your wedding. The reason I say that is one, you can always build your whole order online and kind of know what your budget is going to be. Number two is I would hate for any of my couples to think that, utilize it, and then they buy 2 weeks out. But guess what? Then on Sunday, they're cleaning up a venue and having to blow out of there to make sure return is done. And they're trying to go somewhere for a honeymoon.
Yeah.
So I always give that. That way there's some leeway time, or somebody else can always make the return on their behalf. Um, so that's one of the big things that I kind of go through with them. We also talk about how, is there a middle ground on a light beer that everybody will drink? Michelob Ultra is always like a middle ground that a lot of people will drink. Or are you looking for more local options? Do you
Gotcha.
want to do something local like Axeman or Otto's or Elk Creek or
I know,
something?
because you could literally you could go so many different directions,
Hmm.
and I mean, you could have some people there that like IPAs or some people that like pilsners. Like you are you saying kind of like try to get the majority covered with one or two things, and then if there's some smaller pockets of people, like you were saying, there might be one handle of gin
Hmm.
drinkers there.
Hmm.
They have their drink, they're enjoying themselves, maybe a smidge more because you're like, hey, I thought of you,
Hmm.
I got that for you. Is that kind of what you're?
So we have a couple options. Basically, what I do is one thing that I always like to reiterate to people is like an IPA drinker. My dad's a big IPA drinker, so I know, but my dad also is not drinking IPAs for 5 or 6 hours.
Hmm,
So the other thing to think about is the longevity of the time. Are you doing an IPA that is a higher ABV? Because if you're doing a higher ABV, they're probably only going to have them through dinner.
yeah,
So maybe that's something you buy less on. Or do you find something like a Founders, which is an all day, which is closer to a Miller Lite
right, but
that
still the
you,
flavor that they would
yeah,
like, yeah.
correct. And then a big thing is weather. It's so weird to say that, but like in the summertime, Heavy beers do not go. It's not something people want to be drinking for a long time. It makes them full. It makes them tired. It's just not as refreshing as a light or a seltzer would be in that case. Or we say, go a smaller size on the bottles. Or it, like you said, do we provide something for a guest that's very important to us, but maybe we don't tell everybody that we have it, which means like, hey, Melissa, we bought this for XYZ. They know it's behind the bar, but we are not providing a lot. So we don't even want it listed. So then we know it's back there. We know who it's going to. They know that it's back there.
It's like a little
It's
VIP
yeah,
guest, like,
correct. It's the same
give me the
concept.
special stuff.
Yeah. And then honestly, it's the same concept. Like we'll have a groom that'll be like, I really like that. I'm like, okay, I'm perfectly fine with that. But do you want to be spending $50 a bottle on a really nice bourbon that you like for
Everyone,
everybody?
yeah, because they're all gonna come for it
Yeah.
if they know
And then
it's
they're
there.
like, oh, good point.
Yeah,
And so maybe I just bought it for the groom and my groomsmen, that kind of thing.
yeah,
The big push is making sure everything is coming through us. So we had a wedding a couple weeks ago that they told their guests that, hey, we're not having wine or we're not having this. If you want to bring it, that's fine, but it has to go through our bartender for service. The same explanation went to that customer that came in, the guest that came in. We said, hey, we have it here. We know it's yours. You are ultimately the person that tells us who is getting it. So
gotcha.
we're not going to, if somebody comes up and says, hey, I see you have da 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 da, we're going to say, I'm sorry, that's for,
So and so.
yeah,
But so you're making a very, very clear distinction of like if there is alcohol of any kind,
correct.
in a, other people can do whatever they want, but for Drinks by Design,
Hmm.
your team, it needs to pass through
Correct.
the
Correct.
actual service part of it.
Correct. And we try to have those conversations very calmly and respectfully
Yeah,
with guests. And I get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes because you're like, "Oh, well, I'm at a venue. What does it matter?" And it's just the reiteration of the liability. Like cannot be serving I can't have you serving yourself. That's
yeah,
just not. Same goes with champagne pours. We are very strict, and I wouldn't say strict. We just follow a policy that states we have to go around and pour all the champagne. So whether that's us prepping it before, whether that means your DJ is announcing, "Hey, go up to the bar if you'd like a glass of champagne,"
yeah,
whatever that may be, we're fine with doing it. It just needs to make sure that it's making sure that we're
yeah.
keeping your guests safe. That's all that it is
Well, because
about.
if you don't do that, people are going to make bad decisions and it's
Mhm.
going to fall back on you, even if you did
Correct.
everything you could to try to
Correct.
prevent something.
Correct. And it's the one wrong move. Like they always say, one person ruins it all for everybody. We're trying to prevent that. We're trying to prevent that one bad move.
Yeah. And if anything, you're not saying don't have it.
Correct.
It's just put it through the proper channels, if you
Correct.
will.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fine with whatever you want to do. It
Yeah.
just needs to come through us. And that's all that I stress to everybody.
Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot more, maybe not recently, but I'm just seeing a lot more of like some sort of signature cocktail.
Mhm.
Like it's a very like his and her kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like here's a fun thing that the bride likes. Here's a fun thing that the groom likes. Are you like loving that trend? Like,
I do. And actually, it's really funny. It's not so much his and hers, it's all about their pets.
yeah, right.
It's named after their dogs or named after their cats. So it is fun. And it actually, I just make sure that whether they want modifications to it or not. Like if somebody, and the big trend right now that I'm loving, and it is a lot of fun, is they'll pick a drink, a Moscow Mule, a mojito, a margarita, and we'll turn it into like a bar, which means that we'll pick a couple flavors.
Oh,
So
cool.
guess what? You have four drinks out of one drink because you picked two or three syrups for us to get. And then we've made it into a couple different drinks. So now your guests that might not like something so sweet still have the option, but those that like something super sweet have that option as well. So that's a lot of fun to do that, and it
Seems
makes
like
it
a good way to like extend a
Correct.
simple thing into more options. And
Yep.
when people have more options, they're like, "Ooh, this is so
Mhm.
exciting."
Well, and I always say, like, the one big thing that I've always thought about is think about a restaurant that you go to that has a menu that is massive. It's
Yeah,
very overwhelming.
for sure.
So then that is the reason a lot of times you'll see like a line at a wedding or a line, anywhere is because people are doing the, what do I want? I'm not saying limit it completely and make it so basic that you feel like you aren't giving options. But if you limit it a little bit, your guests tend to be like, oh, I know exactly what I want.
Yeah, you're probably just picking the thing that you like the most, not
Correct.
4 options of things that you like the most.
Correct. Correct.
Is that really kind of how you feel, the line is kept from being a line at the bar?
That, and again, what I said earlier, the conversations are kept for a little bit later. So we love to have conversations with our guests. We love to get to know them and talk to them. It's just, we use that time at the very beginning to just say, what can we get you? What would you like tonight? Sometimes I feel like there are weddings that just never happens. It is insanely busy the whole time
Yeah.
and you're having those small communications, but you never get to really know the guests. And it's like, okay, well, it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah, that's all. That's it.
Show's done.
Yeah. Um, it seems like you've positioned yourself in a very, like, people forward-facing sort of business.
hmm
Is that, like is that life-giving for you? Like, do you enjoy, like, just being in front of people all the time, or do you kinda have to hype yourself up sometimes?
Sometimes I have to hype myself up. And most of the time I'm all right. It's come Sunday that I'm like, don't
Shoo.
touch me, don't talk to me,
Yeah.
go
Just
away.
give me a second.
Yeah. And if anybody will tell you anything, the vendor hangover is a real deal.
Yeah.
Like on Sundays, you roll yourself out of bed and you're like, my whole body aches.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. There was never enough sleep that was happening. And it's Sunday.
I don't know about you too, like, I just never think about drinking water and hydrating myself, and then my body's like, "Yo, you're dehydrated. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go."
See, I, for the most part, am pretty good about water until I'm too busy to remember it.
Yeah.
Too busy to remember food and water. Like, we'll have people that be like, did you eat? And I'm like, oh, yeah,
Eat?
that.
Yeah.
What's that?
What is that thing?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so fun to see couples, like, kinda do their own thing,
Mm-hmm.
create their own kind of create their own adventure
Mm-hmm.
and allow their guests to, like, have fun with that too.
Yeah, for sure.
It seems like, there's so many different ways that couples can kind of make things new and try different things. I'm curious if are there things that venues could do to make your bartending experience just like smoother, easier, more fun?
So the only thing that we ever say as a group is like, is there a place for a deep freezer for ice? Because ice is one thing that we go through constantly. So obviously, the last thing you want to see is somewhere lined with coolers. Like, that's just not aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah,
Who also has 15 coolers laying around, right?
not
Like,
many people.
no. They're like borrowing it from every friend and family member they can. So that's a big one for us. Second is sometimes when the bar is separated from where things are stored, it can cause a little chaos because you
Mm,
always have, unfortunately, somebody that feels they'd like to self serve. Always. So, having those conversations, especially later in the evening, it does become a difficult conversation. And when we don't want to call anybody out, that's the hardest part. You
yeah,
don't want to be that person that's like, okay, you're cut off or
yeah.
okay, you're done. Um, but it, we've had that conversation before uh, where it's just like, if you can't, you're an adult. So if you can't follow the rules, just like a child,
Yeah.
you have consequences for those. So that's unfortunate. But honestly, I will say that doesn't happen very often. We do have a lot of guests that are very, very respectful because they obviously respect the couple, and that's the most important part. Like,
Yeah.
it's about the couple's day, and that is what I reiterate over and over and over and over again. You can try to please everybody under the sun, but at the end of the day, it's about bride and groom
Yeah.
at the end of the aisle getting married.
Yeah.
It's about nobody else.
And I mean, it's a nice take. Even some vendors might be thinking like, oh, a bartender is just like the party juice. Like you're
Mhm.
just kind of there later. You're just making drinks. But like, it sounds like for you, you're taking it past that.
Mhm.
You're concerned with the couple, their day, the actual like they are getting married. I know they're
Mhm.
having a party and they're having a
Mhm.
good time, but they are like
Mhm.
they're married at the end of the day.
Correct. And we do have like a lot of DJs will be like, we wouldn't do this we wouldn't be able to be as successful at the end of the night without you as well. And I think realizing that if one party fails, another party can fail, meaning one vendor versus another.
Yeah.
You're a team. So to walk in ever as a vendor and think it's just about me is ridiculous. Like, you should never ever think it is a one person show
Yeah.
ever. Um because it is all about everybody that's there, and at the end we all have the same result, and it is about our couple that has asked us to be a part of the day, and we're each a small part of the biggest day of their life
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
It really is like a team effort. I mean it has to be. And
mhm.
if you're not like a team player from any category of vendor, like again, why are you doing it?
Mhm. Absolutely.
I understand there's a business side of things. There's kind of that just client communication side of things. But day of, like, let's all just come together and
Mhm.
try to put on the best party for the couple that we're working with that
Mhm.
day. I'm curious, like, you've talked about your team, you've
Mhm.
kind of mentioned some here and there. I'd have to imagine that there are some vendors out there, maybe they're bartender, maybe they own a bartending service, or maybe they're even just a photographer, videographer, or a planner, coordinator, and there's all these people behind the scenes
Mhm.
that second shooters. They're all there helping the main person, the business owner, if you will, do the thing that they set out to do and do it really well. I'm curious, like, how do you find good people to surround yourself and that really do care about your business and the success of your business?
So the craziest part is most of my bartending staff were clients.
That's awesome.
Alicia, Gary, Melanie, Brooke, Nick, they were all clients. Megan and I went to school together. We worked together before. Danica was a client of mine. Um, Also, so sorry if I'm forgetting anybody because there are so many amazing
She loves you
people of
all.
you.
She loves you all.
Um, Shannon, she rocks it too. I just, like I said, there's been so many that have just done amazing stuff. Um,
They come to you at the end of the night and you're like, "You've been great. Are you hiring?"
yeah, exactly. Um, and a lot of them, they all love it. They all have the best time. And it is really, really, really good to have everybody. But the biggest thing is knowing that I have their back
Yeah.
to anything. If somebody approaches me and says, "Hey, so and so did this at our wedding," I go to them, but I also say, "I have your back. So tell me what happened.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Why did it come down to this?" There is no blame. There is no pointing fingers because we're all learning together,
Yeah.
you know? And so to like point fingers at somebody when you know that their character better than somebody that met them for 5 hours, it's a little different. So I
Yeah.
think that's a big thing. When we've had accolades, so we've won best of bartender for
Nice.
State College a couple years in a row, whether we've placed gold, silver, bronze, whatever. It's always about all of us. It's not just me. That magazine might say Drinks by Design Melissa Mangan, but it's about every single one of them and how they show up every single week. and ensuring that they know that they always have my support. And if something falls flat, I'm taking the blame for it. It's not on them, it's my fault. And it's either because I lacked communication with them, whether that means I had too much on my plate, or it just it should have been a red flag and it wasn't. But I rarely feel like I blame them for something, just because as the business owner, that is the point of it. Like, they're showing up for you. You have to give them grace to anything. Now, there's been bartenders in the past that don't work for me anymore, and it's not because they were a bad person. It's just they didn't maybe necessarily show up the way we all show up every week. There are ones that, show up and they are my right hand person. And I have grace with things. Marissa just had her second child, so she's taking a step back. Do I miss her? Heck yeah. And I know she'd be there when push comes to shove.
Right.
Brooke's actively pregnant right now. She bartended a wedding with me 2 weeks ago, and she is very pregnant, but she pushed through, and I looked at her at the end and I said, I think it's time for you to go home. She's like, no, I'm okay. I said,
I can help.
Brooke, I don't need you going into labor.
Yeah.
Go home, put your feet up. So they're all very good. They all show up and do their best. And so I do have people reach out that are like, oh, hey, are you hiring? My big thing is I would always be willing to take somebody on. I just don't want to put my current people in the back corner without them knowing. Like, if they want to step back from it, that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with somebody taking a step back and doing a little less.
Yeah.
As long as they communicate that with me. But I'm not going to put somebody on the back burner just because somebody else wants to step in.
Yeah. If you're listening and you're a vendor, I mean, I'm hearing a crap ton of loyalty, and it's top down loyalty, which, I mean, it's only going to breed a more close knit team. And I would imagine, just as much as you're saying you go to bat for all of your team, I would assume from the top down, like, they're going to go to bat for you as well.
I mean, some of them had pretty rough weddings, and they've just put a smile on their face and they said, we're here and we're here to do a job. Like, it wasn't great. Did we make great money? Probably not. But that's not what it's about. It's about, we represented you and we did exactly that.
Yeah.
So,
well, Melissa, I've just enjoyed our conversation so much.
Me too.
You have so much so much insight and experience, and it's so cool to even hear all of the kind of corporate stuff that you have under your belt too. Where can people find and follow the work that you're doing?
We are on Facebook and Instagram. I think Gary started us a TikTok a while ago. Not sure that that's been kept up.
Way to go, Gary.
Not sure that that's been kept up because I'm just not a big know how to make a TikTok. And
is it all just Drinks by Design everywhere?
Yep, it's Drinks by Design, bartending or bartender, I think, in most places, or Drinks by Design LLC in most places. So yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have all that linked down below. Is there like a preferred, like, reach out to us on this channel? We love.
So I get a lot of messages between Facebook and Instagram. Facebook Messenger for business, I don't know how anybody else feels, but I absolutely hate it because it's
not good.
No, it literally buries stuff beyond belief. Email's great, texting's great. I unfortunately also have a full-time job, so phone calls are not always a way to go for me. As much as I'd love to talk to all of you, they're very hard to do during the day just because I'm actively on the phone with my work all day long. So texting, emailing, all I can do. I do try to respond pretty quickly with everybody. So those are the best ways.
What do you have coming up that you're excited about?
So we have Marzano Tailgate, which is one of the big corporate donors for Penn State. We have Penn State Lacrosse, which is always an alumni weekend, which is always one of our faves. And then in February, we actually are doing the Mount Nittany Charity Ball at Brass
Oh, cool.
16823 this year. So that'll be a lot of fun. Good 500 people. We'll be serving drinks like crazy all night, and it'll
Yeah.
be lots of fun.
That's so fun. I've enjoyed our conversation, and I hope everyone who's listened in, maybe you've learned more about bartending, or what it is or what it's not, or what it is when it's good.
Hmm.
I know that I have, and I appreciate everyone tuning in. And that is all for this episode. We'll catch you guys next time on the Preferred List.
Thank you.